Hey Melissa, I hope you're doing awesome today. I'm so excited to have you in the Gut Glow Reset. Welcome again. I know we chatted a little bit earlier today, but I'm so excited to have you here and just dive in, help you really get to the root cause of these issues, really heal for good, really have you be able to be listened to and heard and work as a team because I'm really all about that. I'm a team player with you. First and foremost, you know your body better than anyone. So I will never dictate, what you should do. Everything I'm recommending are just that. They're suggestions, and you have to listen to your body and do what's best for you. But I have had really good success with my recommendations, and I'm really excited to get started with you. So I'm going to share my screen. We can go over your welcome packet and your Gut Glow Reset plan, recommendations, and dive in. So one sec. Okay. All right, so here's your packet. This will also be uploaded in your document section, so you can look at it anytime, go back to it, come back to this video whenever you need to refresh and reset and just refocus on your plan. Obviously, I'm always here if you have questions. So I'll just get to some of the business stuff. Let me know if you have any questions about healthy. It's pretty user-friendly. I know you've been journaling for a little bit, so I don't think you'll have any questions on that. You'll be getting notifications through email, through Google Drive for your roadmap, the Facebook group. We're pretty active in there. On Mondays, I post a little post about goals for the week. I always post a live question box for pre-Zoom calls and question box every single week that's between those Zooms to really answer questions that are more general, more diet related, stuff that would benefit the rest of the girls in the group. And then obviously we have healthy where you can ask questions and, post your digital journal, which is amazing. You've been doing great with that. And that really helps for me to see what's really been going on exactly and all your symptoms, which really just gives me a really good picture of everything. The photos are great. The water logging is great. Definitely can do workouts. And like we said, continue to do symptoms. You'll be getting email notifications for reminders for your program module portal. And that will basically include like if you have a bi-monthly check-in form due, if I want you to fill out a symptoms audit, I usually request those monthly. That will all be coming from email, and it typically might say like a new module. So don't skip over those. Try to open everything from healthy as best you can so you don't miss anything. And we'll have those 2 live Q&A sessions every month, which are the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which I believe is about 3 p.m. for you. So hope you can make those. And again, we'll have one-to-one check-ins between those live calls. So we'll be talking about everyone's successes, barriers, struggles. We usually have an educational topic as well to dive deeper into gut health, hormone health, fiber, fats, all different types of topics, really just to help you on your journey. And the more detailed you are, the more feedback you'll get, which you know that already, and you've been journaling a lot. And if you want to post any like menus, that would be awesome in either your food journal in the beginning of the week. Like you can post things as a note with a link, or you can post them in the Facebook group, and then others can see what would be good on a certain plan that maybe they would benefit from as well. So definitely let me know if I have any questions about healthy, and I'll also be updating your roadmap throughout the program every month. Has a different kind of heading in the roadmap, and we'll be going through that, in a structured basis where I'll let you know what videos to watch and what month. We'll do our bi-monthly check-ins in there with additional notes that will benefit you in the program, all in your roadmap. So we kind of have everything in one place and it stays organized. So I'm going to send you this health vision form, but I just want you to start thinking about what does having good health mean to you? I know you've been on this journey for a long time. So why is it important to you? What is your why that's going to keep you coming back, keep you motivated? And to me, like you said, it doesn't seem like you have a problem with motivation. It's more that you've been burned in the past, and I totally understand that. So you just want you to, just think about what will keep you, motivated. What is your why? What do you envision yourself feeling like in the next 4-6 months when you're feeling better? And, we'll write down some specific goals you'd like to achieve. We'll do this in your roadmap as well. And we want them to make them as attainable and realistic as possible, time oriented. We want you to pick realistic goals right now that you're actually going to be able to achieve. We don't want to do things that are, 6 weightlifting classes, a week. That's not really realistic. So we want to make things attainable, realistic, and that keep you steadily going in the right direction on your journey. So we'll do those in your roadmap, and we'll both be kind of working on those this week as we fine tune your goals. So let's get into being what our gut bacteria eat. And I know you've probably talked about this with your functional medicine doctor. He does seem really great. We have the spectrum, right? We don't have a list of good and bad foods, but we have disease and health promoting foods like on a spectrum, right? So our microbiome can change very quickly. When we have a lot of health promoting foods, we benefit those good bacteria, and those good bacteria proliferate. So when we feed it things like prebiotics, which are food for good gut bacteria, and probiotics, strain specific is very important, especially with gut healing. So we'll have different probiotics at different points of the program that are beneficial at different times. We have obviously fiber, veggies, fruits, nuts, seeds, whole grains. All these are feeding our good gut bacteria, and they're putting off and producing these short chain fatty acids. We'll talk about this more during a lesson in our live calls, but short chain fatty acids like butyrate, propionate, and acetate, these are basically like our rewards for eating fiber, and they're unlocked when we eat these fibers and our bacteria digest them for us. We can't digest these fibers. We don't have the capacity to. That's why we need these good microbes in our gut. And when we have damaged microbiome, or we have lack of good bacteria, and we have higher pathogens, we can have malabsorption of these fibers. That's why low FODMAP can be beneficial temporarily. And even for you, we want to work on expanding your low FODMAP choices, because you've been so restricted and so limited for so long with this past nutritionist and having you on that soup diet, which I am so sorry about. That's so crazy to me that people are still recommending that. But we'll get into that, in a little bit. But we know resistant starches, polyphenols, fermented foods, herbs, and spices, these all are great things that feed our good gut bacteria. So we want to be expanding these as much as we can throughout the program as on low FODMAP, and as your gut is healing and going in the right direction as you get off low FODMAP as well. And then we know things like excessive conventional protein, like non-grass-fed meat, saturated fat in high amounts. So things like the palm oil, or lots of, like I said, red meat, red pork, bacon, sausage. These are excess saturated fats, refined sugar in excess, artificial sweeteners, antibiotics, and PPIs. And I know you said you were on PPIs for quite a while because you were in so much pain. So I totally understand. It was like a coping mechanism. I'm glad you're definitely off of those, and I really want to help get your reflux down a lot. But all these things have negatively affected the gut microbiome, especially the antibiotics in the past. And I know you said you lived in mold your whole life until last year. So that's definitely played a role in, fungal overgrowth, dysbiosis. And I know you said you had you had been on antidepressants, which does raise your risk of SIBO. You had a few concussions, but were never knocked out. That actually raises your risk of SIBO and alters the gut-brain connection. So there's some things that, do correlate to why I think SIBO developed, and we'll get into that in a little bit too. So when we have high amounts of saturated fat, sugar, artificial sweeteners, lots of antibiotics in the past, that lowers that short chain fatty acid production of butyrate, propionate, and acetate, which are great for our metabolism. So then we have negative effects on our metabolism. We have higher lipopolysaccharide, which is a bacterial endotoxin, entering our bloodstream, increasing our gut permeability and affecting our metabolism negatively, increasing inflammation in the body, affecting the thyroid, which I know you're on desiccated thyroid. So this all raises gut inflammation and influences loose stools, constipation. I know you tend to more be on the loose stool side, but altered bowels is a result, as well as insulin resistance, which is also impacted by our gut microbiome. So I'm hoping to see that improve as well throughout the program with balanced meals, carbohydrate pairing with protein, which I'm pretty sure you are pretty good with now. So we definitely, we can play around with some portion sizes of the balanced plate and whatnot, but let me know what your pass, if you have like an A1C, I don't think I saw that in your blood labs. So let me know if you have a recent hemoglobin A1C, which is the 3-month record of your blood sugar. And if you have an insulin level, I believe it's at like 137, but that's a very, very, very high for our standard. So I feel like it was a different standard range. So, we can figure that out. Let me know if you have an A1C. So these are some factors that negatively affect the microbiome. We said antibiotics, things like NSAIDs and ibuprofen, Advil, chronic stress. So stress will be a major point in our program, and focusing on adrenal health and low fiber intake. I don't think you have low fiber. I just think you have low diversity of fiber, which we'll work on, and diet high in refined sugar. It does not seem like you're having lots of added sugar at all. You're definitely mindful of sugar and your carbohydrate intake, your sugar intake, oral contraceptives. I know you said you were on those for quite a while, I think about 11 years. So that definitely played a role here with impacting microbiome diversity. It also reduces our gallbladder function. So it can basically play a role in why you have impaired fat digestion now as well too. And it definitely can slow gut motility in the upper stomach, which can set the stage for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or SIFO. So it may have really kind of set the underlying stage. And then the antibiotics also played a major role. So things like candida, obviously, that's throwing off the gut, the overgrowth of bacteria and or candida, on fungal overgrowth, food poisoning. I don't think you said you ever had food poisoning. Let me just double check. I don't think that was one that you had listed. I'm just going back in your notes. Oh, you actually did. You said in 2019 in Mexico, and then that really did impact your dysbiosis even more. So that probably, if SIBO wasn't already present, or SIFO wasn't already present, it really, damaged that migrating motor complex. It's called that migrating motor complex is the motility factor of your small intestine. So food poisoning event can actually act as an autoimmune trigger and make your body attack those migrating motor cells. And then that upper stomach can slow down, cause nausea, cause reflux, cause SIBO. And that could have set this off even worse than, like you said. So I'm sorry, girl. There's been a lot of things that have led to where your gut is now, but I'm very determined to get you back on track, get your gut feeling so much better. And processed vegetable oils, things like alcohol, these things can also reduce the beneficial probiotics in the gut, as well as just increase pathogens. So things like soybean oil and avocado, not avocado, soybean oil, vegetable oils, canola, cottonseed, these seeds, oils that are ubiquitous in a lot of processed foods can really be harmful to the gut lining and to the gut microbiome. But I definitely get a sense that you are pretty cognizant of those and you are choosing really good oils most of the time. So in our phase 1, we really want to focus on our balanced meal formula, focus on the guided elimination plan, which is lower FODMAP with an emphasis on diversity. So really expanding off of the diet you're on now, increasing your diversity, allowing the immune system to really suppress from its heightened state. I know your secretory IgA was high in a recent past test with your doctor. So your immune system really is on high guard in that and along that GI tract. So we really kind of want to reduce that inflammation, provide symptom relief, really help your body stop attacking itself at the gut lining using our diet and targeted supplements that are going to help improve that microbiome balance at the gut lining, as well as impair that gut integrity. And then as your gut is improving, your bloating is improving, your symptoms are improving, we will then be doing a reintroduction phase to really re-challenge certain FODMAPs, assess where you're at with them, and really see which ones you're good with and which ones we need to maybe circle back with. It's not that, if you fail one challenge that you should omit that forever. It's just something we might want to come back to and reassess again when maybe we've done a little bit more rehab on the gut, if that makes sense. And then we want to take what we learned from all these phases and build a lifestyle that has a varied balanced diet without restrictions, without symptoms, and we will tackle individual challenges and barriers along the way to have long-term success without any symptoms is my goal. And I'm not going to give up until we get you there. And I'm sure you've heard of the 4 Rs: reduce, remove, repair, and restore. So reducing fermentable carbohydrates that are contributing to symptoms to help calm down inflammation, improve bloating, improve that gas production in the small intestine, improve your bowels, and then working on removing that bacterial overgrowth, right? Improving dysbiosis in the large intestine as well. And the herbal antimicrobials that I use can do both, which is good. And rifaximin does have a higher relapse rate and doesn't address other pathogens like fungi, and can actually make fungal overgrowth worse. So I've used the ones that I'm recommending for you. I'll show you down in a bit, but they target the displaced pathogens as well as fungi and parasites. They help leave the good bacteria intact. And that's a little bit more of a gentle and effective method. We want to impair the intestinal lining, impair its integrity, reduce symptoms of gut permeability, which 99% of the time is present with SIBO. I know that you said, I know in one of your tests, like the zonulin was normal, but that was also like a few years ago. And I do believe that you have a level of gut permeability now, especially with all the gut issues going on and its effect on your metabolism. We want to make sure your upper stomach motility, your MMC, is running really well. We'll focus on other lifestyle factors as well, like vagus nerve support and gut brain access, to really hone in on this. And we'll use different, like we said, probiotics, prebiotics at different stages to really support the gut flora and the growth of beneficial bacteria and microbiome restoration. So I wrote down some assessments of really like the picture of what I feel like is going on. And obviously, we'll get more information tomorrow when you have your follow up with your doctor. But I wrote down your current weight, and I did see from your weight log that you lost almost 70 pounds in the past 2.5 years, which is amazing, Melissa. Like, great job. And I'm sure you feel so much better. And I know you just want to feel even more better and just feel like your body was meant to feel without all these gut problems. So gut healing and reducing inflammation is the first priority, which then will improve your metabolic health and support your weight loss efforts, because our gut microbiome directly influences our metabolism and the way our body stores fat. So I know you said your initial like a sustainable healthy weight was about 130 to 180, which I think is an amazing goal. I think even 180 is a great goal to start with in the next several months. And 0.5 pound to 2 pounds per week is really recommended for sustainable weight loss. So don't worry if it's slow, especially in the beginning. Gut healing is really, the first priority, and then weight loss will follow. So I do think you have a high likelihood of SIBO or SIFO with a fungal overgrowth. I know you have the high fungal overgrowth in the large intestine, which very much increases risk for SIBO and SIFO in the small intestine. And we know you have a lot of these high gas buildup symptoms like severe bloating, gas, burping, reflux. The gases are getting trapped. They escape, they go up, they go down. Sometimes you can get lower stomach bloating, sometimes you get reflux and burping. And it sounds like you do have that increased visceral hypersensitivity, which is common with SIBO, which is basically just like you feel all the things that are going on more than the average person in the gut. So you feel more cramping, you feel more of the gas pain, you feel more of the food moving through your intestines, and that's called hypersensitivity, visceral hypersensitivity. So I wrote down all the factors that I believe have increased your risk of SIBO here. So the NAFAL, non-alcoholic fatty liver, which increases risk of SIBO, and it may have gone hand in hand. Like SIBO can also increase fatty liver. So it's kind of like the chicken or the egg there. Gallbladder and bile flow issues definitely could be contributing to risk of SIBO. Again, SIBO also worsens bile flow because SIBO bacteria don't like bile, so they deactivate it in your small intestine, worsening your ability to digest fats. So you could have factors, it could have started in the gallbladder and liver, but then SIBO also makes bile issues worse and fat digestion worse. So I expect working on SIBO and SIFO that your bile and your fat digestion will improve. And I have a whole video lesson on liver and bile support. So I'll have you watch that probably within like a month or so, not everything all at once. But that also goes over in depth of a lot of foods that increase our liver and bile support. And I have a supplement that I'm recommending too for that as well. And then the history of the PPI, that may have been a contributing factor because as you know, that reduces your stomach acid, which allows for bacterial overgrowth down the GI tract. And we really want that stomach acid to have really good integrity over these next few months. That ACV is great. And I know sometimes you do the herbal digestive bitters, which are great. Maybe send me a picture of the ones that you use. I'm not sure actually which ones you're using exactly. But that combination really does improve that stomach acid, as well as working on stress, working on vagus nerve support. And I do have a whole stomach acid video lesson that I'll have you watch in the next few weeks. The history of frequent antibiotic use for skin infections, sinus infections, UTIs, all disrupted the balance of the microbiome. Large intestinal dysbiosis present, which influences SIBO. Family history of autoimmunity. I believe you said that yes, someone in your family has fibromyalgia, which is also autoimmune, present, has a present autoimmunity, which raises the risk of autoimmunity for you if someone in your family has fibromyalgia. And I know you had the history. I wrote that you had the history of the negative test 2 years ago, but your results are pending. The long-term birth control and long-term mold exposure also raise the risk of SIFO, SIBO, as well as the 2 other things we discussed earlier. The large intestinal dysbiosis and history of high pathogens, high in candida, affected by all these things as well, we've discussed in the past. Leaky gut, which is present with SIBO, and long-term birth control affects that diversity and quantity of good bacteria. Like we said, it also influences non-GI symptoms when the gut is permeable, like inflammation, skin issues, fatigue, allergies. And like we said in the earlier slide, birth control reduces gallbladder function and may have influences gallbladder dysfunction over time. I do believe, though, that some of your imaging from the liver studies showed that, I think it was last year. I'm just going to pull up your labs. But I wrote that, in May 2021 was I believe your last liver study in which the gallbladder was normal with no stones. So let me know, I'm sure that they'll go over that in your endoscopy, which will be good. But if not, then maybe you want to ask your functional medicine doctor to maybe do like a HIDA scan, which is an actual direct imaging of your gallbladder itself. Oh, let me know if okay, I think you're still seeing the packet. So sorry if you didn't see the labs, but check out what I wrote in your labs at the top about the gallstones and let me know if that's correct. I know the MCAS definitely affecting your histamine threshold in the gut and the body, and then influencing those reactions like facial flushing, itchiness, headache, which I think are also related to bacterial overgrowth. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. I think DAO is a great thing for you to continue taking. I don't want you to have to continually reduce all these high histamine foods because we really want to work on expanding your diet. So I think the DAO is really, really helpful for that as we're working on minimizing that histamine excess in the gut that's present with SIBO and dysbiosis. So you have excess histamine production going on right now. So adrenal dysfunction, I do think that's present also due to these chronic stressors on the body with SIBO, dysbiosis. And so we'll really focus on adrenal support. I have a whole live call about that. And we're going to work on your cortisol response and stress resiliency as well. So our internal stress, these physiological stressors are impacting adrenals. And I know we talked about possibly the adrenal cocktail powder, but I do think a lot of your electrolytes are helping with that as well. And, sodium, potassium, and good quality vitamin C. Something like acerola berry is really helpful, or camu berry, but the adrenal cocktail powder has acerola berry as its vitamin C source, which is really good. And you do want to have a food source of vitamin C to really help the adrenals as best we can. So I will check back in your, I will check with the Seeking Health electrolytes and if it has vitamin C, and I'll get back to you. And I know you said you had insulin resistance, so we're going to be working on that as well, and lack of a menstrual cycle. Let me know what a little more backstory on this. Like, I know you said you're not really getting regular periods. So we want to be checking into your progesterone, your estrogen, your testosterone. So let me know if you have like what your doctor said about that, because again, with the Canadian lab values, I really couldn't understand if it was high or low. And usually you need to know when you were on your period or what part of your cycle you were in to really get a good sense about those, the progesterone, estrogen, especially. So let me know what your doctor has said about those levels in the past, but I know you said you're not getting regular periods. So let me know basically like how long your cycle is, how short it is, how long it is based on oh, I'm sorry for the extra S there. Based on, what's normal for you, and let me know. So your goals. So we want to achieve a wide, sorry, let me just take a drink of water. I really hurt my neck today, so I'm like trying to stretch every so often. I don't even know what happened. I just woke up and I threw it out somehow. We want to achieve, especially on low FODMAP, a wider and diverse range of plant fibers to really feed those good gut bacteria and get your gut out of this negative cycle of not many foods, of a very limited diet, because I believe it's really keeping your gut stuck in this place. In addition, obviously, to what's going on with dysbiosis. But if your foods really stay the same, we're not really going to be able to increase and improve these symptoms. Not increase. We're not going to be able to improve these symptoms if your foods don't expand and your choices don't expand, because plant diversity equals diversity of a healthy microbiome. So over the program, we'll be kind of doing some plant challenges and assessing your number of plants in 1 week. And I usually do that about once a month. I'll have you do a plant diversity challenge, maybe in a few weeks, and really try to widen that diversity just slowly and steadily. And I'm not going to obviously make you eat foods that you don't want to eat. It's really, what you're willing to try, what you want to add in here and there. It could be 1 or 2 new foods every week. It could be many new low FODMAP foods in a week. It's really up to you and what you're comfortable with trying. If you haven't had some foods in a very, very long time, it probably is best to have it by itself, in other safe foods over the course of a few days and assess. But, we'll do some fiber training, as we call it, and retrain your gut to be able to tolerate these foods. We need to promote the growth of the bacteria that can digest these foods. We don't want to be omitting these foods for so long that then those bacterial species start to die out. We want to eradicate what's going on in the small intestine, SIBO, SIFO, rebalance the large intestinal microbiome, uncover all possible root causes. I know we went through a lot. I wrote full thyroid panel, but we know that you're on the desiccated thyroid already. It can't hurt to get updated ones, but I think your doctor wrote like your T4 and your T3 were good. Your TSH was low, but that was expected. So that also, even that developing maybe a few years ago, let me know when you found out you had hypothyroidism, but that also is a root cause of SIBO as well, because hypothyroidism can cause a sluggish upper stomach. So a lot of these things make sense with why, maybe the bacterial overgrowth would occur. The MMC damage, lack of vagal tone, so we'll work on that. The gallbladder issues, birth control, and more. So we want to support your stomach acid, support optimal digestive enzyme production, which really making sure we start optimizing digestion from the top down, that upper stomach, then the pancreas, and the gallbladder, then bile flow. So we really want to be optimizing these and supporting these. And I know you're taking enzymes, and let me know what you said. Like you said with HCl, you felt like you had some anxiety, I believe. So let me know what went on there, why you felt like you had anxiety with HCl. I do find it to be helpful, especially for someone like you, if you have lower stomach acid. So if you're willing to try it again, let me know. If not, we can definitely continue to use the HCV, ACV, and herbals and digestive enzymes that I know you're on already. But one of the supplements I'm recommending has separate bile extract. So I do believe that will be really good for you, especially initially to help digest fats. And even going forward, if you're having, like, let's say a high fat meal at a restaurant, you're having, food out with friends, a bile extract support can always be helpful as to not strain and cause that gallbladder pain that you're experiencing, reduce the stress on the gallbladder a little bit. as we're working on healing. Reduce the gut permeability is obviously our main goal. Support the gut lining integrity, support those secretory IgA and the IgG, reduce the stress bucket of your environmental factors to promote healing. We know you had mold in the home. We know, you had past toxins that you're exposed to. That's amazing that you realize that and you got out of that environment. I don't think you're using tons of plastics in your everyday life, but limiting those, that really helps reduce the microplastics on our gut that we're exposed to, using glass and stainless steel containers, getting rid of nonstick pans as best you can, switching to low tox beauty and skincare, switching to safer and non-toxic household cleaners, just reducing the amount of environmental stressors, environmental toxins can really be helpful for our gut healing. And we want to do about half your body weight in ounces daily. And why did I forget to write it in? I will type that in before I send it to you. But that will be about 130 to 140 ounces of water per day. So let me know if that's realistic for you. If it's not, we can set a goal for 110 to 120 and go from there. So you let me know what's realistic for you over the next few weeks, and then we can work on expanding as needed. I'm just writing down to write that in. And we want to be replenishing minerals. I think the minerals that you're taking, the Body Bio with the magnesium citrate, I would just say reduce those because that citrate could be stimulating loose stools. So, and we don't want to do that right now. I think that may be contributing to your symptoms sometimes. And I would say also reducing or temporarily stopping that smidge magnesium. So we're not contributing to loose stools. But mineral mocktails, even homemade ones, are really great. I have a little PDF in your program modules with a bunch of homemade recipes for mineral mocktails. Like we said, there's also the adrenal cocktail powder, which does not have magnesium. It has Redmond's royal salt, vitamin C, acerola berry, and potassium. So those are the some great minerals for when our adrenals are under stress. They burn through those minerals the most quickly. So I love that adrenal cocktail powder, or things like LMNT, like half a packet even for you, like if you have the pots where you need more salt, a full packet of LMNT is great for mineral support, for bloat support. I just do think maybe easing back on the salt sticks, maybe once a day, because that also has magnesium citrate, and so does the Body Bio Elites, I believe you said, and that going to about 3 capsules a day would definitely be better as opposed to 10. So let me know what you think. And like I said, going down on salt sticks to maybe 1 capsule a day and see how that goes. So we want to focus on lower FODMAP, but for you actually increasing the diversity, since your gut is really stuck in too much restriction, which negatively affects our symptoms. And we'll do this in conjunction with the herbal antimicrobial protocol that you have not taken yet. And I do use like a specific other supplement with the antimicrobial that I find has really high success rate. And while we're addressing root cause issues, really supporting your motility, your vagus nerve support, your stomach acid, your thyroid. So all these things that we want to be working on at the same time instead of just clearing out the SIBO. I listed a few apps that I really like, the Monash app, Spoonful app for low FODMAP references, and I have tons of references in Healthy. I have a low FODMAP video module I'd love for you to watch this week. I'd love for you to add back some more diverse low FODMAP grains like brown rice, quinoa, white rice, which I think you are doing white rice, which is good. But adding back some good starches like potatoes and sweet potatoes, and you already do sweet potatoes, but actually limiting sweet potatoes to about a half a cup, because I have seen pictures of your plate where I think sweet potato was a lot more than half a cup, so that may be contributing as well. I definitely recommend, and we'll go over that obviously more in your journal, and we can go back and forth on some of your meals and things like that, and I'll be obviously commenting on a lot of your meals, giving you constructive feedback and recommendations. I would love for you to try out adding back foods that were avoided on that MR test and the food sensitivity test, because these reactions really change based on our intake and habits, and I don't really recommend avoiding them long term. So things like basil, corn, soybeans, strawberry, barley, broccoli, cheddar, lemon, lime, pumpkin, quinoa, green tops of scallions. I would love for you to add these back and really just utilize that DAO enzyme to reduce any histamine load as foods are entering the gut. And we're working on reducing that naturally occurring excess histamine with this gut dysbiosis. So more low soluble fiber, low FODMAP wise would be oat bran, flax meal, 2 tablespoons a day, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, even psyllium husk, 1 tablespoon can be helpful, not in high quantities, but it is lower FODMAP to really help bulk up the stools and create more formed stools every day. So let me know how you feel about that if you'd be interested in trying that. I know you were weary about fiber in the past, but we would start like pretty low and slow and make sure you tolerate it. And I would say temporarily reducing some acidic foods that I see you have been eating a good amount, like cucumbers and peppermint tea, minimizing some tomatoes, chocolate. And I do have like a GERD/reflux low FODMAP PDF and healthy. Definitely check that out. And I'll help you pinpoint some of these things in your journal as we continue on. I wasn't sure about your iron, so I put a question mark here, but I will, we'll go over your iron levels and we'll see if you need to, actually, yeah, we'll go over to see. I don't know if you had any recent iron levels, like your anemia panel, iron, ferritin, TIBC, iron saturation. So let me know if you've had those. And I do like the grass-fed beef supplementation, the organ grass-fed beef liver supplementation, which I believe that's what you're taking, the Perfect Supplements multi-organs, which is great for iron recycling, which is really good for SIBO. So let me know if you have any iron labs recently. Foods high in omega-3s are great for inflammation reduction, and we'll have a whole live call on healthy fats and negative fats that affects the gut. But wild salmon, I know you eat salmon, which is great. Sardines, hemp seeds, chia, ground flax seeds. Some of these seeds need to be converted from ALA to EPA and DHA in the gut, but they're really, really great for overall inflammation. Avocado in about 1/8 of a portion. I would say reduce like the tallow fat and the animal fat right now, just because you're having the gallbladder pain. And as that bile flow improves, you can start slowly adding that back in. And as SIBO, fat impairments of digestion improve, it just may not be tolerating the best right now for you. I listed some anti-inflammatory herbs to feed good gut bacteria, which also helps raise your plant diversity. So using some different herbs, especially as we're getting into spring and in your cooking, is great. I have definitely some fun recipes in your low FODMAP section that maybe you could try. And I wrote to continue dandelion root tea. You want to make it kind of on the weaker side to lower the FODMAPs. I'm not too concerned about that, because some brands are lower FODMAP, some are just moderate. And I would just stop the peppermint tea for now, which can worsen reflux and actually relax that esophageal sphincter that influences food coming back up into the esophagus. We'll talk about the daily meal formula, and I would recommend avoiding skipping meals when you're bloated, because this can make bloating worse over time and actually reduces your digestive capacity, reduces your stomach acid, reduces your pancreatic enzymes when we're constantly signaling to our brain that we're skipping meals, and it should suppress our stomach acid. We want to aim for about 3 to 4 hours between meals. And this is actually really, really helpful for our migrating motor complex in the small intestine. It really allows the gut to clear out bacteria, clear out food products, allow your food to move on more efficiently. It doesn't move when we're eating. So if we're grazing on snacks, if we're frequently grabbing something throughout the morning, after breakfast, you're having you're just grazing. Let's say you're grazing. I don't think you really do though, but I like to, definitely harp on it, because that MMC health is really important. So those short fasts between meals are great. And that long 12 to 14-hour fast from dinner to breakfast really allows the food to clear out and helps minimize bloating later in the day. And it's really ideal not to eat a few hours before bed, like 2 to 3 hours, to avoid food sitting in the small intestine and fermenting overnight. But I want you to listen to your hunger cues. If you are hungry, definitely try to have a balanced snack with carbs, some fat, and protein. As if best you can, try not to just eat carbohydrates that will then be fermented more easily in the gut. But yeah, so definitely listen to your hunger cues, but ideally not eating too close to bedtime. So here are some supplement recommendations. I know you can't use my full script account, but you can use Dr. Brofman, I believe his name is. So I just wrote out some of the recommendations for stopping some certain electrolytes. I wrote here to stop the Seeking Health electrolytes, but I think we can keep that and then just reducing the body by electrolytes to 3 to 4 capfuls daily. So I'll change that before I send it to you, because I know we were talking about this more today. And just to not be taking as many of the salt tabs that have magnesium citrate, but you listen to your body because you know yourself best with your POTS. And if we can reduce a little bit, I think that's really going to help with the loose stools due to the high osmolality it's creating in the gut. I think it's influencing some gurgling symptoms and loose stools. I think stopping the B vitamins might be good for now because you're getting a lot of niacin, and niacin in excess has been associated with facial flushing. So let me know what you think about that. But I would recommend that for now. Also pausing on the smidge magnesium. Magnesium oxide is in there, and that can also influence loose stools. But looks like actually, yeah, it's a mix of malate. Okay, malate, taurate. I don't know where I got oxide from. I think because it said magarate, magarate, and I thought it said oxide. I still think it's a lot of magnesium, which just in any form can be a little stimulating on the gut. So I think it's a good idea to just take a break from that. And I think continuing your mushroom adaptogens, pure paleo, protein is great. Your zinc carnosine, turmeric, inositol, quercetin. I do have a combination supplement below that has both quercetin and zinc. So let me know what you think about, maybe you can even pause on those two if you get mine. But I do think pausing on the bee pollen would be good for now because it has been associated with like itchiness, shortness of breath, upset stomach, and those sensitive to it. So maybe try giving that a break since you are having a lot of allergy reactions at this time. And I would pause on the TUDCA until the endoscopy results are in tomorrow. I believe you said that's tomorrow too. And then continuing the DAO enzymes to reduce the histamine load on the gut instead of heavily focusing on omitting high histamine foods, which limits your diet and gut diversity even further. The two supplements I'm recommending for treating SIBO, large intestinal dysbiosis, are Metagenics, Candibactin, AR, and BR. I know you said you hadn't tried these before. I'll be sending you one of them as part of your program. So let me know if I should send it on Amazon because I believe I can do that. Or if you order it, I could also send you the refund. I think that's what I did with my other client in Canada. I sent her like a refund for the one that was included in the program. So let me know if you're able to get access to these and I could send you the money for one of them. Pick the higher one, doesn't matter. And that will really, really be great for this imbalance of bacteria in the small and large intestine with gentle eradication over time. And this has a really, a lot of evidence-based research, and I've seen it have a higher success rate compared to rifaximin. Atrantil, I'm just skipping over the other one for now. Atrantil assists the Metagenics duo in improving the gut flora in the small bowel. It reduces gas, bloating, discomfort. It addresses symptoms as well as root causes by blocking gas production and reducing distension. So I have seen a lot of success with this combination with the antimicrobials and that. So I'm really excited for you to start that. I also am recommending this liver gallbladder complex with bile extract in it with a meal to improve your digestion of fats. With hepatic steatosis and impaired fat digestion, bile acid support, which will help increase your nutrient absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, and improve symptoms of fat digestion, reduce your bloating, and reduce burping and belching because you may be getting some bile acid reflux. I like that it contains taurine. I do think you have taken taurine in the past, but that's a rate limiting step in bile acid conjugation. So again, you could pause on like your single taurine and have this with a meal because it also contains things like milk thistle and bile extract that are great for liver and bile health. GI Revive, I'm also recommending to help soothe inflammation at the stomach lining, reduce reflux, support stomach acid production. It contains DGL, slippery elm, marshmallow root, quercetin, zinc carnosine, and L-glutamine for gut lining support. It also has little pectin to help support more form stools and slow down the GI motility that seems to be, really being stimulated. Then we have Espoulardi, which is a yeast-based probiotic that supports microbiome balance. So it helps support the antimicrobials. It helps reduce fungi in the small and large intestine and reduces the ability for pathogens to thrive. And it supports gut integrity and reduces gut permeability. So I really have seen great benefits from Espoulardi. We use it a lot clinically as well for post-antibiotic support and post-antibiotic loose stools. So I really think this is going to help you a lot. I also recommending the only other new one would be liposomal glutathione. I saw you had a history of low level on one of the reports with your doctor. This is the liver's master antioxidant, and we want to support liver health and improve that non-alcoholic fatty liver, steatosis, and overloaded stressed liver, really support the gallbladder and the bile flow and prevent gallbladder removal. So I love taking straight glutathione and do this myself because it really, really helps replenish that master antioxidant and keep your liver ahead of the game instead of falling behind and sluggish. I think you should continue the colostrum, like we said, and that ACV in water prior to meal. I can also, whatever you choose to buy here, I will create like a little supplements chart for you. I know you have one already, and we can kind of fine tune it with what you choose to get in the next week or so. So the rest of the packet, I'm really just diving a little bit more into some of these topics like SIBO and some of the causes here, a lot of them which we discussed, some symptoms, some other risk factors, associated complications. That's why I ask about anemia levels, even B12. I don't think I saw those. So let me know if you've had either of these done. Poor absorption of fats. Obviously, we're seeing that with you and the loose stools. Damage to intestinal lining, causing increased gut permeability, malnutrition, even just malnourishment of a lot of electrolytes and B vitamins. And I know that's why you've been taking a lot of these supplements because you've been concerned about that. So you've really been proactive, which is awesome. You've been trying to replenish some of these nutrients that SIBO bacteria can actually steal from us prior to absorption. This is just showing how the FODMAPs can draw water into the small intestine, influencing diarrhea, gas production, bloating, and distension. So they pull that water in and then they promote these highly fermentable gas products based on the fact that you're having an intolerance to these FODMAP foods. These are just the acronyms for FODMAPs. Again, I have a whole video lesson on it. This is the balanced meal formula that I'm recommending for you. And we can also, in a few weeks, do even a little bit more of a specific macro plan for you based on your goals. But I would just love for you to get kind of adjusted to the plate balance for a few weeks. And then we'll make it a little bit more specific in the next few weeks after that, just to really, hone in more on your weight loss goals in the future. But I would love for you for now, getting used to really the balanced plate method. And like you saw in your journals, I'll be encouraging you, okay, add this for a little bit more non-starchy veggies, reduce this vegetable because it's double starch, so I'll be just helping you with that in your journals as much as possible. And these are just some examples of different foods that fall into different categories on the plate. So, and I'm also going to be uploading for you another like sample low FODMAP meal plan with just some more ideas for this, with how to build a balanced plate and just some more low FODMAP ideas to make, on the go quickly that aren't like too time consuming, because I know you're busy and we all want to have, kind of quick meals, but make them healthy and nourishing. So these are just some examples, kind of expanding on some of those recommendations from the healthy plate, healthy fats, um, protein. I would say for you, like 3 to 4 servings of protein a day. So I will fix that. And the whole grain and starches. You can do gluten-free sourdough, like we said, roasted carrots. I know those are pretty easily digestible for you. Fingerling potatoes, organic corn-based pasta or brown rice pasta, gluten-free oats, brown rice quinoa crackers like Mary's Gone Crackers Originals. There's definitely some other good cracker recommendations too in the low FODMAP grocery guide, so definitely check that out. And I know you have your yogurt too, which is a good source of healthy fats, the Yogu that you've been using, which is awesome. So definitely read through this. This is just a little bit more about importance of a balanced breakfast. So getting about 25 to 30 grams of protein at breakfast so we can avoid a glucose spike when we have a high carb breakfast versus a breakfast that's more balanced in carbs and higher protein and healthy fat. We have this healthy blood sugar curve throughout the day as opposed to blood sugar spike and drop. And then when we get to that 2 hour mark, then we're hangry and we have low energy and we're fatigued. So our goal is to have really good blood sugar regulation throughout the day. And I posted an example of what that would look like. Definitely could add another carb here. This is kind of on the lower carb side, but I'd recommend for you having like a gluten-free sourdough with that or gluten-free bread or like a gluten-free English muffin, something like that. So that's just an example. And about 1/8 of an avocado, that's a little bit more. So for 1/8 of an avocado, I would say for low FODMAP. So these are just some more ideas for wellness recommendations, hydrating before we caffeinate, especially in the morning. Definitely check out that mineral mocktail PDF. I wrote some tea ideas, some grass-fed bone broth. I have a recipe in the back of the packet here, and I love this concentrate that you can add to boiling water or turmeric tea before bed, or just as an afternoon pick-me-up to increase the collagen and promote healthy bowel movements and reduce the inflammation of the gut lining and increase trace mineral support. Squatty Potty is great. I had linked to grass-fed collagen that I really like. And I have an Amazon page with more low FODMAP ideas and gut healthy nutrition ideas. So check that out. We'll go over this more in the stomach acid video of ways to support our stomach acid levels. And these are just some more tips for that as well, in addition to the video. So go through this. I have some low FODMAP materials in here, as well as some recipes. Here's some low FODMAP fruit portions and their sizes that you always want to pair with protein and healthy fats. And again, I have more options and recipes for you in your document section, and I'll be creating a new kind of low FODMAP PDF plan for you to check out just with some more ideas. So I asked some questions in there. So if you want to like pause throughout the video and answer back whenever you get a chance, that's awesome. We'll set up like your goals, like we said, your habits, goals in your roadmap, your water intake, balanced meal proportions. A stress relief goal would even be really great, something that you do for you every week, whether it's like a guided meditation or a yoga class. So that's a really great goal to put in there. Your new supplements and what else? Exercise, like an exercise goal would be awesome of what's realistic for you right now. And then we can always change that as time progresses. So again, let me know if you have any questions. I'm so excited to start working together, Melissa, and I will talk to you very soon. All right. Have a great evening, nighttime, and talk to you later.